Ugh, Jesus Christ, am I ever gonna finish this video?
This
Is the MP5. It's known worldwide as a dependable firearm, and there's no question in that. If you've ever shot one, I've shot one a couple times, usually automatic, and it's one of the nicest guns that I've ever shot. I've shot a couple other submachine guns, and this is by far the most comfortable. It's not my favorite, but that is a topic for another video. It has so many variations. There's over 100, and it's been in service for almost 60 years. Or coming up on 60 years. Yeah, it's old. It's really old. It's a lot older than some people think. And there's quite a few of those that have stuck in popular culture. But when it was designed, it stood out as a unique and reliable weapon, and it's still in limited use today. Even with the technological advancements and newer firearms that take center stage, like the MPX, or you got something like the Honey Badger, which, it's not. It's, as far as I know, the Honey Badger isn't used too often in military service, but I'll have to search that up after I'm done recording, because I kind of going off the cuff here. But today we're going to be diving into the function and the history, but to do that, we're going to have to go back and look at Heckler and Koch as they came out of World War II. I'm going to refer to them as HK for short, because I don't feel like saying that every time. But let's get to it. With the fall of Nazi Germany in 1945, the Allied forces occupied Germany. The town of Oberndorf, which was outputting about 70,000 Mauser rifles a month. This is like the Ishevsk of Germany. Okay, Lee Enfield was putting out 1.2 million a year. That's about 100,000 a month, and that's for all of Lee Enfield's factories. So Mauser was. Now we're not going to talk about how they were pushing these numbers, but regardless, incredible amount of rifles were coming out of this town. But the French decided to dismantle Mauser's facilities there for very obvious reasons. But three former Mauser engineers by the name of Edmund Heckler, Theodor Koch, and Alex Seidel managed to salvage what they could from the ruins. And in 1948, they decided to establish Engineering Office Heckler & Co. And it was later renamed to H&K in 1949. Initially, they produced bicycles, sewing machine parts, precision tools. Very different from what we know them for nowadays, but I suppose this isn't too uncommon. I mean, Glock does horse semen, so this isn't unusual. And if you didn't know that Glock breeds racehorses, now you do. But they kept this up for about 7 years, because in 1956, the West German government needed a new infantry rifle for the Bundeswehr. And HK's answer was the wonderful G3 rifle, which I have a G3. I love it. It's pretty huge. It's kind of heavy. If you ever get the chance to shoot one, I recommend it. 308/7.62 by 51 NATO. Great caliber. But it was a massive success, and that's no surprise there. It paved the way for HK's rise as a firearms industry leader. The G3 wasn't created in isolation, though. Its roots trace back to the STG-45, which was a prototype developed at the end of World War II by Ludwig Vorgrimler. I'm sorry, Germans, but luckily there's not too many of these words in here, so you won't have to put up with it too much. But its design comes from its older brother, the STG-44, and then before that, the MG-42, which used a roller-delayed moving barrel blowback mechanism. Very, very interesting. Belt-fed guns are very mechanically complex, but when you actually, see one fire, especially something like the MG-42, which is insane, it is a work of art. But After the war, this technology made its way to Spain with Ludwig, and he started to work for Setme, a Spanish industry manufacturer, mainly weapons. But there they made the Model A, where it was refined into the Model B, then eventually refined into the Model C. And if the Model C looks familiar, it's because this rifle would become the G3, which is one of the most widely adopted battle rifles in the world. I believe it has been adopted by over 40 countries since its release, and 7 of them still use the rifle as its main infantry rifle, which is, I mean, surprising. It's a big, bulky battle rifle. I feel like some of these countries could probably get, surplus M4s from the United States for like $2 a pop, but that's regardless. Anyways, but building on the G3's success, HK decided to use the same roller delayed blowback system in smaller caliber weapons, because 308 is a honkin' fucking rifle round, and I don't know if you've ever shot 308 from the shoulder, but it hurts. I'm sure that's not the reason, but it's true. It hurts a little bit. Maybe I'm just a bitch. But this led to the development of the HK33, which is the 5.56 variation, and then later the HK54, a precursor to the MP5, and it was initially adopted by the Bundeswehr as the MP64, later renamed the MP5. Now, onto the MP5's variants. It saw many significant improvements, such as our MP5A1 that had its now iconic ring sights attached to it, exchanged out for those fuck ugly sights that were on there before, which were stolen from the Model C and, well, the G3, I guess, if you want to go the correct way. But it had a slimline handguard as well, so now it's a little comfy for your hands. And then the MP5A2, which had a solid polymer stock. The A3 retained the retractable stock, so not really much changed with the A3. I'm sure there was some slight mechanical changes, but yeah, it looks like pretty much exactly the same as the A1. In 1974, we would have a surprisingly different one, where they developed the MP5 SD, an integrally suppressed rifle, ideal for covert operations. It was favored especially by the SAS. And in 1976, they would develop the MP5K, a ultra-compact variant designed to meet the demands of close quarters combat in South America, which actually was a surprise. I thought I knew quite a bit about the MP5 and its history, especially the MP5K, which is a very, very nice gun to shoot. I did not know it was developed for combat in South America. That's pretty interesting. So if you didn't know that, now you do. But in 1977, HK replaced the original straight mags. Finally, I don't know why it took them this fucking long. You think a group of engineers would have figured this out. I feel like Hillbilly Bob down the road with 4 cans of dip in his mouth and 16 Busch Lights in his stomach could have figured out that, you take 9mm round, which slimmer at top, it nose up when you put in 30 round magazine. But that's just me going grug brain. So they fixed this, and they added the slight curve to the mag, so now it looks like the one that we have nowadays. And this prevented the jamming issues that were so common with those earlier MP5s. The MP5 operates on a roller delayed blowback system. It's very unique, and there's not many other firearms that actually do this that aren't H&K. Of course, you had the MG42 and the STGs, as I described earlier, but I've not heard of many other firearms, at least in this era, that used a roller delayed blowback mechanism. But what happens is these little rolling pins lock into the chamber and keep the actual bolt carrier from moving backwards until the pressure inside of the chamber has dropped. So this very much reduces felt recoil and enhances accuracy, and it actually extends the firearm service life, which is pretty awesome. But this innovative system was obviously inherited from the G3 and then the Setme before that, and it's what makes it so easy to shoot under sustained fire. I mean, when I shot this, it was incredibly easy. And I recommend it to anyone who hasn't shot an automatic MP5 to do it, if it's legal for you, if you have a place that you can go do it. But we are going to talk about what really propelled the MP5 into its starlight that it sits under now, up on its pedestal, like a Miss America, except it's a German lady competing in the Miss America competition, so she has an unfair advantage. But 1980, April 30th to be specific, Iranian Arabs armed with Polish PM-63 racks, Browning high powers, and Russian hand grenades stormed the Iranian embassy in London, taking 26 hostages. Their demands: the release of 91 Arab prisoners in Iran, and autonomy for Khuzestan, and safe passage out of the UK. But for 6 days, the hostage takers held their ground, growing agitated as their demands were not being met. And the breaking point for the UK government came when Abbas Lavasani was executed by the hostage takers. He was an Iranian press attaché, and this prompted the authorization of the SAS operation. The SAS team, equipped with 2 MP5 SDs, 7 MP5Ks, and some standard MP5s that were equipped with top-mounted flashlights, they performed their assault on the Iranian embassy, and in a matter of minutes, they neutralized the terrorists, all but one, and rescued the 19 hostages, though tragically 2 lost their lives. But the siege was considered a success nonetheless, and it propelled the MP5 into the global spotlight. I mean, you look at these pictures and the massive amount of video footage that is of the Iranian embassy siege, and you can kind of see why. It reminds me a lot of Reagan's assassination attempt, where you had the Secret Service member that had the Uzi taken out of his jacket, and this picture is incredibly iconic. I mean, this is essentially the Uzi's version of what the MP5 has done here, if you're more familiar with the Uzi, but that's neither here nor there. From the SAS raid on the Iranian embassy to its widespread use by law enforcement and special forces, the MP5 has earned its place in history. While newer firearms like the HK MP7 has taken its place in many roles, such as the raid on Osama bin Laden's compound, which is the most notable one, the MP5 remains as a symbol of precision engineering and reliability. And I love this gun. I hope to do many more videos like this. I love talking about weapons, and I appreciate you if you watch this, especially considering there's probably not a lot of people that are watching it. But if you did enjoy it, like it. If you didn't like it, dislike. Any feedback is much appreciated. And could you please leave a comment, something like that, and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. I do plan on doing more videos. Like I said, I love talking about firearms and the firearms history especially. So yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot.